सर्वदेव मयो गुरुः। हे परम प्रियतम,
हे परम प्रियतम,
पूर्णतम पुरुषोत्तम श्री कृष्ण,
पूर्णतम पुरुषोत्तम श्री कृष्ण,
तुमसे विमुख होने के कारण,
तुमसे विमुख होने के कारण,
अनादिकाल से हमने,
अनादिकाल से हमने
अनंतानंत दुख पाए,
अनंतानंत दुख पाए,
एवं पा रहे हैं।
एवं पा रहे हैं।
पाप करते करते,
पाप करते करते,
अंतःकरण
अंतःकरण
इतना मलिन हो चुका है
इतना मलिन हो चुका है
कि रसिकों द्वारा
कि रसिकों द्वारा
यह जानने पर भी,
यह जानने पर भी
कि तुम अपनी भुजाओं को पसारे,
कि तुम अपनी भुजाओं को पसारे,
अपनी वात्सल्यमयी दृष्टि से,
अपनी वात्सल्यमय दृष्टि से
हमारी प्रतीक्षा कर रहे हो।
हमारी प्रतीक्षा कर रहे हो।
तुम्हारी शरण में नहीं आ पाता,
तुम्हारी शरण में नहीं आ पाता।
हे अशरण शरण,
हे अशरण शरण,
तुम्हारी कृपा के बिना,
तुम्हारी कृपा के बिना
तुम्हें कोई जान भी तो नहीं सकता।
तुम्हें कोई जान भी तो नहीं सकता।
ऐसी स्थिति में,
ऐसी स्थिति में
हे अकारण करुण,
हे अकारण करुण,
पतित पावन श्री कृष्ण,
पतित पावन श्री कृष्ण,
तुम अपनी अहैतुकी कृपा से ही,
तुम अपनी अहेतुकी कृपा से ही
हमको अपना लो।
हमको अपना लो।
हे करुणा सागर,
हे करुणा सागर,
हम भुक्ति मुक्ति आदि,
हम भक्ति मुक्ति आदि
कुछ नहीं मांगते।
कुछ नहीं मांगते।
हमें तो केवल,
हमें तो केवल
तुम्हारे निष्काम प्रेम की ही,
तुम्हारे निष्काम प्रेम की ही
एकमात्र चाह है।
एकमात्र चाह है।
हे नाथ,
हे नाथ,
अपने विरद की ओर देखकर,
अपने विरद की ओर देखकर
इस अधम को निराश न करो।
इस अधम को निराश ना करो।
हे जीवन धन,
हे जीवन धन,
अब बहुत हो चुका।
अब बहुत हो चुका।
अब तो तुम्हारे प्रेम के बिना,
अब तो तुम्हारे प्रेम के बिना
यह जीवन मृत्यु से भी अधिक भयानक है।
मृत्यु से भी अधिक भयानक है।
अतएव प्रेम भिक्षाम देहि,
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 प्रेम भिक्षाम देहि।
बोलिए साकेत बिहारी श्री राघवेंद्र सरकार की
जय।
वृंदावन बिहारी श्री यादवेंद्र सरकार की श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे। राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
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 ओ राधे गोविंद,
राधे
राधे गोविंद,
राधे
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
ओ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
मोहि ऐसी विरह वेदना दे, मोहि ऐसी विरह वेदना दे, रैन दिन गाऊं राधे गोविंद
राधे
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
ओ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
मुक्तिया भोग वैकुंठ नादे मुक्तिया भोग वैकुंठ नादे श्याम सुंदर सोमो को मिला दे
मुक्तिया भोग वैकुंठ नादे श्याम सुंदर सोमो को मिला दे
मुक्तिया भोग वैकुंठ नादे श्याम सुंदर सोमो को मिला दे
मुक्तिया भोग वैकुंठ नादे श्याम सुंदर सोमो को मिला दे
ओ श्याम सुंदर सोमो को मिला दे
श्याम सुंदर सोमो को मिला दे
हाँ श्याम सुंदर सोमो को मिला दे
श्याम सुंदर सोमो को मिला दे
मुक्तिया भोग वैकुंठ नादे श्याम सुंदर सोमो को मिला दे
मुक्तिया भोग वैकुंठ नादे श्याम सुंदर सोमो को मिला दे
ओ राधे गोविंद
राधे
राधे गोविंद
राधे
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
ओ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
मोहि दासी की दासी बना दे मोहि दासी की दासी बना दे कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
मोहि दासी की दासी बना दे कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
मोहि दासी की दासी बना दे कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
मोहि दासी की दासी बना दे कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
हाँ कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
हाँ कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
मोहि दासी की दासी बना दे कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
मोहि दासी की दासी बना दे कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे
अपनी सेवा जो ना दे तो ना दे, अपनी सेवा जो ना दे तो ना दे, अपने जन की ही सेवा दिला दे।
अपनी सेवा जो ना दे तो ना दे, अपने जन की ही सेवा दिला दे।
अपनी सेवा जो ना दे तो ना दे, अपने जन की ही सेवा दिला दे।
अपनी सेवा जो ना दे तो ना दे, अपने जन की ही सेवा दिला दे।
ओ राधे गोविंद
राधे
राधे गोविंद
राधे
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
ओ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
अपने जन की भी सेवा जो ना दे, अपने जन की भी सेवा जो ना दे, सेवा की वासना ही बढ़ा दे।
अपने जन की भी सेवा जो ना दे, सेवा की वासना भी बढ़ा दे।
अपने जन की भी सेवा जो ना दे, सेवा की वासना ही बढ़ा दे।
अपने जन की भी सेवा जो ना दे, सेवा की वासना ही बढ़ा दे।
अपने जन की भी सेवा जो ना दे, सेवा की वासना ही बढ़ा दे।
अपने जन की भी सेवा जो ना दे, सेवा ही वासना ही बढ़ा दे।
हाँ, सेवा की वासना ही बढ़ा दे।
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 हाँ, सेवा की वासना ही बढ़ा दे।
सेवा की वासना ही बढ़ा दे।
हो राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद
राधे
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
ओ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
वासना मेरे सुख की मिटा दे, लालसा तेरे सुख की बढ़ा दे।
वासना मेरे सुख की मिटा दे, लालसा मेरे सुख की बढ़ा दे।
ओ वासना मेरे सुख की मिटा दे, लालसा तेरे सुख की बढ़ा दे।
वासना मेरे सुख की मिटा दे, लालसा तेरे सुख की बढ़ा दे।
रथी समर्थ की गोपी बना दे, रास में नाम मेरा लिखा दे।
रथी समर्थ की गोपी बना दे, रास में नाम मेरा लिखा दे।
रति समर्था की गोपी बना दे, रास में नाम मेरा लिखा दे।
रति समर्था की गोपी बना दे, रास में नाम मेरा लिखा दे।
ओ रास में नाम मेरा लिखा दे।
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 हाँ रास में नाम मेरा लिखा दे।
रास में नाम मेरा लिखा दे।
ओ राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
ओ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
तू अकारण कृपालु कृपा दे, तू अकारण कृपालु कृपा दे, पात्र भी तू कृपा का बना दे।
तू अकारण कृपालु कृपा दे, पात्र भी तू कृपा का बना दे।
तू अकारण कृपालु कृपा दे, पात्र भी तू कृपा का बना दे।
तू अकारण कृपालु कृपा दे, पात्र भी तू कृपा का बना दे।
हाँ पात्र भी तू कृपा का बना दे।
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 हाँ कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे।
कोई सेवा मुझे भी दिला दे।
ओ राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
ओ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
ओ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
हाँ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
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 राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
ओ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
ओ राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
ओ राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे,
गोविंद गोविंद राधे, राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहा दावाग्निर्वापणम् श्रेय कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधू जीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृता स्वादनम् सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्री कृष्ण कृष्ण संकीर्तनम् नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वंह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये. Dear devotees, let us do a few minutes of Nam Sankirtan, and after that I'll answer some of the questions that have been sent in to our YouTube channel. We can also take some live questions if anyone here has anything they want to ask. Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala
भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला
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 मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला
भजो 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 गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला
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 भजो मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला
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 भजो गोपाला
भजो गोपाला
भजो गोपाला
भजो गोपाला
भजो नंद लाला
भजो नंद लाला
भजो नंद लाला
भजो नंद लाला
भजो गोपाला गोपाला भजो गोपाला
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 Bhajo Gopala Gopala Bhajo Gopala
Bhajo Gopala Gopala Bhajo Gopala
Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala
Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala
Bhajo Giridhar Govind Giridhar Govind Gopala
Bhajo 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 Giridhar Govind Gopala
Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki. I'll be answering 3 questions that some devotees have sent in to our YouTube channel. The first one has to do with something that affects everybody. The question is about finances, money. How much money does a person get in this life? Like many things in our life, there are different factors at work, but we have to understand a couple most important ones. One being our destiny, one being our free will and our effort. Many things in our life are a combination of these 2 things. So let us first understand in general about destiny and in general about free will, and then we'll see how does it apply to money in a person's life. There are 3 forms that karma takes. Kriyaman karma, sanchit karma, and prarabdha karma. When we do an action with our free will, that is called kriyaman karma. God keeps track of all of our actions and He judges them according to the motivation behind them. That means that the most important thing about our actions is what's going on in our mind. Although we say there is such a thing as mansik karma, vachik karma, sharirik karma, one can do karma by thinking, one can do karma by speaking, one can do karma with their physical body. However, the mental aspect is the most important because we don't speak without thinking, we don't act physically without thinking. Our mental thinking is behind everything. Therefore, God keeps track of all of our thoughts mainly, not the movements of our body and not the sounds coming out of our mouth, but what are we thinking? Where is our attachment and what is our motivation? He keeps track of all of that, what we call kriyaman karma, and after a person leaves their physical body, after the death of the physical body, that kriyaman karma is added to something called sanchit karma, or it takes the form of sanchit karma. Sanchit karma is the total accumulated karma from all of our infinite past lifetimes, minus that which we have received the consequences of. It's not possible to receive all the consequences of the karma you do in this life in the next life. It takes too long. When every thought is considered a karma, therefore we're doing some karma every second, but many of those karma might require days or months or years to undergo the consequences of, good or bad. So you can't just say, whatever karma I did in this life, I'll get all the consequences in the next life. It doesn't work that way. So in every life, even if we keep getting some consequences going forward, but the bulk of it is added to our sanchit karma, we get whatever amount we can undergo in that life given to us as our prarabdha karma. So these are the three forms that karma takes. Kriyaman karma, when we're performing the action. Sanchit karma, which is the storage of all our previous lifetimes' unfructified actions. And out of that sanchit karma in this life, what God has given us to undergo, जो हमको भोगना है इस जीवन में, उसी को प्रारब्ध या भाग्य कहते हैं. Daiv. So our destiny is that small part, that small portion of our sanchit karma that we've been given to undergo in this life. What does that control? It affects many things. Whatever you think is luck is mainly affected by and controlled by your prarabdha. In other words, what family were you born into? You didn't choose. It's your good luck or your bad luck, what family you were born into. That's your prarabdha. God gave you that according to your past actions. What type of body you got? Meaning, is a person's body strong, resistant to disease? Is it weak? What type of brothers and sisters you got, if any. These things that are given to us in our life that we have to undergo, we can't control them, we don't choose them. That's the outcome of our prarabdha. The obstacles and the opportunities that we receive in our life, that is also prarabdha. Whom will you meet in this life? Sometimes people, wow, it was such good luck that I bumped into this person. Because of that, I got so many opportunities in my life. It's not luck, it's your prarabdha. And sometimes we face great obstacles, great difficulties in our life. That is also our prarabdha. So, according to Tulsidas Ji, Hani labh jivan maran yash apyash vidhi haath. Certain things are controlled by prarabdha, namely the situation of your birth, the time of your death, that is also predestined according to your prarabdha. Whether you have a good name or a bad name, that's not in our control, right? People sometimes are very good and they end up with a bad name. Some people are very bad and they end up with a good name. They become famous. That's because it's in their prarabdha. And hani labh, Tulsidas Ji also says, major financial loss and gain. This is also determined by prarabdha. So where does free will come into all of this? Free will is our every moment, what we're thinking, what we're saying, what we're doing, that is always our free will. That is never being controlled by God or destiny. It's always our free will. Jagadguru Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj gave a very practical example to help us understand how both prarabdha and free will can interact in a person's life. He was talking about education. He says, let's say that a person was in their destiny to get a college degree in this life. That was in their destiny. Does that mean that no matter what they do, no matter how lazy they are, no matter what choices they make in their life, they'll definitely get the college degree? No. It means that they won't face any major obstacles in getting that degree. Their family will be supportive. They won't have major financial obstacles in getting the degree. If they choose that path and they follow it, they'll be able to reach that point in their education without too many difficulties. But if, let's say, only the bachelor's was in their prarabdha, not the master's, then after that, does it mean that it's impossible for them to get a master's degree? No. It means they'll have more obstacles. It was in their prarabdha to get the bachelor's degree. It means that would be easy sailing. But after that, can you get the master's degree? You'll have to work a lot harder. It's not in your prarabdha. It's not something that's an easily attainable opportunity. But if somebody works extra hard, it's still possible. So we can attain more than what's in our destiny, and we can also attain less than what's in our destiny, depending upon our actions. But the destiny controls the opportunities and the obstacles, the difficulties and the help that we'll get along the way. Now, how does this apply to finance? The major factor affecting someone's finance is how much charity they did in their previous life. Not necessarily in dollar amount, but more in, you could say, the effort they put in to do charity. Charity, of course, true charity, true dhan, according to Gita, deshe kale cha patre cha taddanam satvikam smritam. Gita says that satvik dhan is that which is done without an expectation of getting appreciation or recognition in this life. And it is given to the right recipient, what we call patra. The recipient should be someone who's going to use it for a good thing, for a sattvic thing. Such charity is considered to be real charity. If somebody is using their money, what money has come to them in this life, see, remember, however much money is coming to you in this life, that's not the issue. The issue is, what are you going to do with it? That's going to affect your future. So however much money came to a person, how much of that did they use in charity? There might be someone with $100 billion who gave $1 billion in charity. It's good, definitely, that counts. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that person's charity is considered to be greater than a person who earned $100,000 and gave $50,000 in charity. In other words, after meeting their basic necessities and their family's basic needs, they gave away everything else. Obviously, this person is putting great effort in helping others, in doing charity. So all of this is taken into account. But we can think of it as, see, this is also a very strong, such a great way to illustrate the way that this works over many lifetimes. Jagadguru Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj gave this analogy. He said, if you take cash to the bank to deposit it, when it's going out of your hand and the bank teller is taking it, do you feel you're losing something? No. You know it's going in your bank account and you'll get it later. Charity is the same thing. Some people think, oh, haath se gaya. Like, oh, now it's gone. I can't use that money. Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj says, no, that's going in your spiritual bank account. the charity, the true charity you give in this life, that's going in your spiritual bank account, and that determines how much wealth will easily come to you in your next life, automatically come to you in your next life. Even more, in fact, than what you gave. Not just what you gave. You can say you get it with interest. Just like a good investment. So this is how the prarabdha affects our financial situation. How much charity we gave in the last life, that's how much money we'll naturally have in this life. Meaning, what type of family are we born into? What is the financial situation of the family? That's determined by how much charity we gave in the last life. If we didn't give any charity, we'll be born in a poor situation. Now, does that mean the coming and going of each and every penny is already predetermined? No, because obviously if you just sit on the couch and watch TV all day, how will you earn a salary? Somebody isn't going to come to your door and start paying your rent for you or your mortgage for you, unless it's something like winning the lotto was in your prarabdha. If that's in your prarabdha, that's going to happen no matter what. But we shouldn't think that, okay, it's all in my destiny, so I don't have to work at all. No, you still have to work, but just what it means is, with a normal amount of work, how much wealth is destined to come to you is going to come to you. And we see in the world that if you take two people, they both have similar intelligence, similar education, and they put in a similar amount of effort, and one of them makes a lot of money and one of them doesn't make any money or makes very little money. That's the prarabdha. That's obviously influenced by prarabdha. Or someone else works less, is a little bit lazy, but still they have a lot more money than you and you work so hard. It's prarabdha. So the major financial situation is determined by how much charity we gave in our last life. So this is the first question I want to address today. Does anybody have any follow-up questions about that? By the way, this should be a relief to you. Some people get disappointed. Oh, so my plans for becoming a billionaire are not only in my hands. If I didn't give charity in my last life, it might not happen. So instead of being disappointed, be relieved. Oh, I don't have to worry about it. Whatever is going to come is going to come. I just do what I need to do in my life. Lead a good life. I don't have to be stressed out about my financial situation. Whatever's going to come according to my prarabdha will come. Let me worry about other things that I can control, like my spiritual progress. I don't have to worry, although I have to work, but I don't have to worry about my financial situation. So any follow-up questions on that? You can raise your hand if you want to ask anything.
So they say that, Maharaj says that if you give donation to a tamasic person, you actually get a tamasic result. So if we donate to a charitable hospital and they treat a tamasic person, what result do we get?
Yeah, that's where, if you're looking for the surest way to give charity in the best way, where you wouldn't be fooled into helping the wrong person, right? Which is your responsibility to find out. If you're giving money to someone and they use it for something wrong, then you're also held responsible for sponsoring that wrong activity. So there's a fourth kind of charity, although Gita talks about three kinds: tamas, rajas, sattvic, depending on the patra. If you give to a tamas person, that's tamas charity, it's not a good thing. You give to a rajas person, it's rajas charity, it's in between. You won't be rewarded for that in the future, but you won't be punished. You give to a sattvic person, you'll be rewarded for that. That's sattvic dan. But if you give to a God-realized saint, a Mahapurush, then let them distribute it how it's needed, how it's required. Then what counts is you surrendered that dhan to a Mahapurush. That's all that's looked at. Then after that, it's in the Mahapurush's hands. It's between them and God. You understand? So when you give dhan to a Mahapurush, that is considered pure bhakti. It's beyond sattvic. It's considered, it has the same effect on the heart as sitting and doing rup dhyan, doing sadhana, purifies the heart. So does giving charity to a Mahapurush, which in itself is there's a word oxymoron. Giving charity to Mahapurush, it doesn't make sense. Mahapurush has everything. They have God. What are we going to give to Mahapurush? But still, the Mahapurush accepts our charity as a way of letting us practice devotion, letting us use our resources for a devotional thing. So it's really the Mahapurush's grace on us. But that's the safest way to give charity if you have the good fortune, Krishna's grace, to have the association of a true saint. You can give your charity there and let the saint worry about where to distribute it. Yes?
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya,
Radhe
I
Radhe.
don't know if I can ask this question the right way. So I'm a little confused because there's a part of Gita that says that when God graces you, He takes every material thing away from you. But in my family, my father, he's humble. Let's say he's very humble. He taught us to be very, very humble. If I ask him things, he tells me about his childhood in Pratapgarh. He made a comment to me, I have running water. I feel like I'm a millionaire. But there's a lot of devotion in my household from morning to night. And then I see like his brothers who are actually materialistically millionaires with $70,000 chandeliers hanging in their houses, one of their houses, not even looking at a car that's beneath a BMW or a Mercedes. And people even ask me, you're from such a rich family, like how do you live and what have you done to yourself? But my question to you, Paya, is it better to be humble or is it better to be materialistically rich?
Well, being humble is not necessarily, the two don't have to be opposite.
Okay.
Having money doesn't mean that you're not humble, although yes, in the majority of people, it's a challenge to be humble. The more things we have, right, the more money a person has, there's a subtle pride in having that. And when that's taken away from us, then we automatically relate to other people who are also suffering. We say, oh, that person's suffering just like me, or if we've suffered in that way, we can relate to that person. So yes, in a way it's a blessing. It should be viewed as God's blessing if we experience loss in our life, or if we have less in our life, that should also be viewed as God's grace. It should be viewed as I have the opportunity to be humble and focus on God. I'm not distracted by all of these things. But there are people with very good devotional sanskars who are wealthy and are humble and devotional. So it's not, they're not mutually exclusive.
Okay. Radhe Radhe.
Here, yes.
How can one go about finding or recognizing a Mahapurush? And does he have to be necessarily poor?
Oh, does the Mahapurush have to be poor? That's a good question. Okay, so this is a big topic, actually, finding and recognizing the Mahapurush. And I could say, first of all, that actually, of course, I'll have to speak very briefly now, but if you want the full detail, Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj's main book, Prem Ras Siddhant, that we have, it's here in the reading room in the lobby, and it's also available in the shop if you wanted. There's a whole chapter on exactly that topic. The chapter is called Mahapurush, and he goes through all the steps. How do you find Mahapurush? How do you recognize Mahapurush? What benefit are you supposed to get from a Mahapurush? What's the relationship supposed to be between the Mahapurush and the follower, the devotee? So I can just give you a very brief summary of that. So as far as finding, that is between you and Krishna initially. So to the extent that we are, I guess I would say, our longing for God, our true longing to find God in this life, and pray to Krishna, I know I can't find you on my own. I need the help of a Mahapurush. So please bring someone into my life. Send a Mahapurush to me. I need a guru. Keep praying like that, and when you're ready, when it's the right time, when you would be benefited by it, Krishna will make it happen. That's step one. Meeting the Mahapurush is 100% in Krishna's hands. We just have to keep praying to him until he does it, and he will. Then when we meet the Mahapurush, also based upon our previous lifetimes bhakti that we've done, we have some inclination, some openness in our heart for coming close to Mahapurush. So there's some, you could say, ability to recognize the Mahapurush based upon our past life's devotion. That also is in the form of a sanskar. So the previous lifetime's devotion we've done, seva to a Mahapurush, that created good sanskars. And in this lifetime, at the right time, Krishna will awaken that sanskar in our mind so that when we meet the Mahapurush, we'll also be attracted to the Mahapurush. We'll be able to recognize to some degree the divinity of the Mahapurush. Even if it's only 1% we recognize, but we feel something. That's the beginning. From there, then it's more in our hands. Krishna arranges the initial part. After that, it's more in our hands that we should study what the Mahapurush is teaching us, then practice it, and see, are we getting the results that the Mahapurush told us? That if you sit and do Rup Dhyan, you attach your mind to Krishna by practicing this sadhana every day, then your negative qualities of the mind will reduce and your good qualities will increase. So is this happening? You can judge over time, over an extended period of following the teachings of the Mahapurush, you can start seeing that, am I getting the benefit as promised or am I not? And in some cases, you know, some individuals we may think initially are Mahapurush or Guru, they're not even explaining much philosophy or really giving a clear path, right? So that lets us know right away that, okay, I don't need to go down this road. We need to find somebody who's going to simplify, give us the essence of the philosophy, clear our doubts, answer our questions, tell us this is your daily practice, then do it, see what happens. Now, as far as what you mentioned, is the Mahapurush poor, for instance? Does a Mahapurush have to be physically renounced from the world? There's no physical requirement of a saint's lifestyle, meaning a God-realized saint, a Mahapurush, could be a sanyasi, could be married and have kids. If we look at our history, in fact, we find more examples of Mahapurush who were married, like Ambarish, Prahlad. I mean, they were kings ruling all of India or even the entire earth. Arjun, gopis, these are all Mahapurush who were married. There's a few examples of sannyasis also, but there's more examples of Mahapurush who were married. So for them, they're already God-realized, so it doesn't matter. It's not a distraction to them to have a family. It has no effect on them. So we shouldn't try to judge this person isn't a sanyasi, so they can't be a Mahapurush, or this person is wearing modern clothes, they're not wearing dhoti and kurta, they can't be a Mahapurush. That's not the correct way. We can get fooled. Then someone who's not a Mahapurush may try to fulfill all those stereotypical characteristics, what we think a Mahapurush is supposed to look like, and then we get fooled and we start following the wrong person. So the main point is we shouldn't focus on the external characteristics, the external look of the saint, the gender, the age, the way of dressing, the lifestyle. That's a good way to get confused, actually, if we try to analyze that. It's better to just learn the teachings and then follow them and see what benefit we get. That's the sure way of finding out, is this a real Mahapurush or not? So if it's a real Mahapurush, we'll start experiencing the benefits of the path of devotion through the grace of that saint. So that's really the gist in a nutshell. There's also some ways to eliminate potential. Someone you might be thinking, is this a guru? But so there's a few things, if you notice, you could actually say, no, actually a God-realized saint doesn't get involved in such things. But that's my hook for you to go and read Prem Ras Siddhant. If you want to know those extra details, you can go and read Maharaj's book. So I hope that helps a little bit. I know it's a very brief answer for a very important topic. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I think that's enough talking for today. I'll save the other questions for the next Q&A session that we have. Today, we have about 10 minutes left. So we'll spend this time actually doing some Roop Dhyan. I mentioned Roop Dhyan just now. Jagadguru Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj says that the deepest connection that we can bring our mind down into a quiet place and then connect it to Krishna is through Roop Dhyan. Roop Dhyan means visualizing the form of Shri Krishna in our mind. Krishna, Radha, young Radha Krishna, older Radha Krishna. It's up to us, but we should just visualize them and really see and try to feel their presence, their real divine presence with us. That's the effort we put in to join our mind with them. Then Krishna graces us. This is the most important practice as taught by Jagadguru Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj, and it's the essence of all the devotional practices. So let us spend a few minutes now, each one of us, with the best of our own effort, to visualize Radha Krishna in this way. Let us all try to do our own Roop Dhyan as we simultaneously do Kirtan, because the Kirtan will enhance the connection that we feel to Radha Krishna, and it will also block out distractions. It will enable us to focus on Radha Krishna for longer. So let us do that for a few minutes now. Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai
Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai
Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govind Jai Jai
Govind Jai Jai Gopal जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
राधारमण हरि
जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय
गोविंद जय